Alright, a wonderful morning to you. Welcome to Nigerian Pilots TV. We are at it again, and it is the program Newspaper Headline Review with Vincent Osei and
Melchizedek Matthew.
Yes, Melchi. Okay, today is Tuesday, the 17th day in the month of November 2020. Yep. We have 3 newspapers on our desk this morning. Of course, we are just bringing it light and hot for you on the trending issues in Nigeria, and there has been a whole lot of trending issues. Yesterday, Batch B core members, Stream 1A, yes, they were sworn in, officially new core members after the 7 months lockdown
due to the COVID-19.
Yes, and there has been other trending issues about the governor of Ebonyi State, Umahi, yes, defecting to APC. It has been a discussion in the mouth of every politician in Nigeria.
What is happening?
A whole lot of things is happening. All right, it's always with politics. People go, people come, Barack still remain. Definitely. We are starting off with the Nigerian Pilot newspaper, and we have extreme poverty boldly written with this red color. Extreme poverty. Yes. The National Bureau of Statistics says 105 million Nigerians have slipped into extreme poverty.
Wow.
Remember, Nigeria is about 200 million, estimated 200 million in population.
Yes.
Now, 105 million slipped into poverty.
Which means just 5 million
that's around 50.1% of Nigerians are now in extreme poverty. Inflation hit 14.23% in October, the highest in 4 years. Zamfara records, these are the riders. Yeah. Zamfara records the highest of over 17%. Cross River has the lowest with over 10%. Urban inflation increased by 14.81%. You can get that on page 8 of the Nigerian Pilot newspaper. Now let's talk about this extreme poverty, because this is coming after the Minister for Finance, Hajia Ahmed, announced that Nigeria is moving into another wave of recession after the COVID-19. You know, the COVID-19 pandemic brought in so many uncertainties. Economic shutdown, yes, business, flights, and a whole lot of things were shut down.
I guess that's why the government is bringing up so many interventions like the survival funds, yes, and all of that.
Farmer money, trader money,
yes,
youth, and all those money.
But I wonder those who got this money, because if it is for the citizens of the country, definitely a lot of businesses should have been helped, would have been,
especially the small scale businesses.
The small scale business. Now for the country to go to extreme poverty, that's bad.
That means the money that the federal government seems to be pumping in is actually not going to the right persons. Just as the COVID-19 palliatives, the federal government disburse. When it trickles down to the person that will send it down to the poorest of the poor, politics comes in. It's a very dirty game. Okay, we have another story on page 7 of the Nigerian Pilot. NLC rejects fuel price hike, says it violates agreement with federal government.
I was shocked when I saw the price. I was like, again?
117.
Are they considering the survivors of Nigerians or the citizens of this country? Definitely, you know, when the price of premium motor spirit is increased, prices in them, things in the market also will increase.
Goes
transport
up. Yes, transport fare goes up.
And all this falls back to the citizens. And before you decide to do such thing, you need to consider a lot of things. Due to the COVID-19, some businesses are yet to stand on their feet the way they used to be before, after the crash and all that. Some are still struggling, and the government are increasing things by the day. It's not fair.
It's not fair. But my own stand is on the side of the NLC, Nigerian Labour Congress. Now, they lost the game. While I say they lost the game is after 2 weeks warning strike prior to October 1.
Yeah.
They threatened federal government, if you don't negotiate, we move into nationwide strike, indefinite strike. Yeah. Now, this whole thing started with the increment in fuel price then.
Yeah.
I don't know, they're saying it violates agreement with federal government.
If NLC,
what agreement do they have with federal government prior to October 1? There are so many questions, because that strike would have continued. But anyway, we still have other issues. Rep summons CBN governor, NNPC boss over unremitted 3 trillion naira. That's on page 5 of the Nigerian Pilot newspapers. I saw that story and I read over it. It was actually in 2014 from the sales of local crude oil. They failed to remit. Now, the House Committee on the sector, NNPC pushes their money into the CBN, their revenues into it. So I think NNPC boss and Godwin Emefiele, they'll just have to come and give explanation on what happened to 3 trillion naira. We have other stories here. We just have to pick them up one by one. And then we have IGP orders deployment of 5 mobile police units to Edo State.
That's another big.
There has been crisis, and this crisis started the more after that jailbreak.
Yeah.
Both the
criminals have been released.
Criminals have been released from the den.
Court guys have been released, and they are
on rampage. Over 37 persons are down already.
It's terrible.
It's a very sad thing. You can get that on page 5 of the Nigerian Pilot newspaper. We have other ones by the Humanitarian Ministry. How we fed 127,588 households during lockdown. Still on page 5. There are a whole lot of stories on the page 5 of Nigerian Pilot. You just have to grab a copy and you feed yourself.
Interesting stories.
Yes, interesting stories. Alleged 9.2 billion naira fraud. Fowler FIRS chairman returns to EFCC. EFCC shouldn't let that case go. They have to follow it up. I think that's the much we can take for Nigerian Pilot, but we'll still come back to it for the back page.
With me is the Punch. We have a kicker there that says Umahi's defection. PDP dodges zoning as APC was Ogwani, Ipazo and Obiano to APC. Wow, that's serious. Defection. And recently, I heard the INEC is going to make a law, concerning defecting from one party to the other.
They should defect. The APC thing are PDP members who now saw that APC is winning. All of them now pulled into APC. So, this is just recycling the same caliber of persons. Recycling all of them.
We need to change. And for stories following me, says Uzodinma, Okorocha, Ojikalu, others reaching out to opposition governors. We aren't disturbed. Goal of defection will soon hit ruling party. Boast PDP. That's serious. And we have a big picture there about the swearing-in ceremony of
that's a big congratulations to the newly sworn-in members.
Yes. We have picture here from Lagos, Abuja, and Magu. That is in just swearing-in ceremony of the new core members. Congratulations to them. And other stories we have here is on the story of from the headline. You can find the story on page 2 for the PDP dodges zoning as APC was Ogwani, Pazo and Obina. You can find that story on page 2. And other stories we have here is 3 injured as farmers herdsmen clash in Abuja community.
Wow.
You can see that I wonder which area in Abuja is that. You can see that on page. You can read that story on page 11. Daughters jailed 37 years for trafficking girls. Trafficking girls 19 to Russia. Wow. You can see that on page 4. Then 12 killed in Kaduna local government. 8 ABU students among highway abduct. I don't know if you heard that story. That was it was yesterday. Yes.
2 persons were shot there.
Yes. Wow. The government really need to look at that Abuja Kaduna road. It's terrible. You can see the story on page 11. And police brutality victim demand 5 billion naira compensation in Benue. You can see that. Read that story on page 7. Then gunmen in military uniform abduct 5 Benue revenue workers. That's serious. Still insecurity in this country.
Wow.
You can see that. You can read that story on page 9. Then Kogi records 20 new leprosy cases. 4th federal government statistics. You can see that story on page 8. And at the top of the newspaper, you can see other stories that says Naira plugged to 475 Naira as dollar demand rises.
Wow.
Nigerian currency is really going down. You can see that on page 20. Then other story is petrol price will increase when oil goes up. Sylvia. That's the Honorable Minister of State for
Ministry.
Yes, Ministry of
Petroleum.
You can see that story on page 9. Then the NSAS police plot to detain Ero Mosole for 30 more days. I don't know if you know that NSAS guy.
Yes, so many things on it.
Yes, and you can see that story on page 7. And the last story we have here is experts blame borrowing, fuel price hike as inflation climbs to 14.23%. You can see that story also on page 19.
I think that's it on the Punch
Yeah,
newspaper. Okay, we're going to do a very quick one on the Daily Trust newspaper. Remember, kidnappers blocked Kaduna-Abuja road 4 times on Sunday. Villagers are the ones testifying. They raped their daughters. That, according to the rider, 8 Abu students among abductees kidnapped. And witnesses say more than 15 killed. Army Kaduna government insists only 2. Bandits will kill many in Ibabi village. These are on the riders of the Kaduna-Abuja Expressway. Government needs to do something about that road. Really, and we have how prices of bread orders raised inflation to 14.3%. Okay, there are stories on the Daily Trust newspaper. Just do yourself good to glance through the papers so you can have a good read. Yeah. Okay, because for the sake of time, we'll be taking the back page of the Nigerian Pilot newspaper. Remember, the Super Eagles of Nigeria are ready, battle ready to take on the Lone Stars of Sierra Leone today. It was a 4-4 match last Friday, so you can get that story on the Pilot newspaper. Mayweather comes out of retirement again. How do you retire and come back?
It's passion for the sport. Yes,
it's something you need to read. And we have a feature story by our guest writer Jerome Mario Otomi. How ex-human rights activists failed Nigerians. Human rights activists failed humans. Okay, that's the much we can take. Remember, this is Nigerian Pilot TV. You can follow us on www.nigerianpilot.news. Our social media handles at NIG Pilot TV. Thanks so much for watching. I still remain Vincent Olse and
I remain Melchizedek Matthew.
Alright, thank you so much and bye for now.
Bye.
As events unfold around us,
we give you information
in Nigeria and around the world.
We are the pilot of good information. We are Pilot TV,
connecting you to more information
as it breaks.
We are Nigerian Pilot TV.
We are Pilot TV,
connecting you to the world.